The Kent School District is successfully preparing all students for their futures, and one of the ways in which this happens is by providing inclusive educational experiences to all students. Students who require special education services work together in the classroom with all students, helping each other as a team. Inclusive educational practices also encourage collaboration between teachers, instructional planning, student data analysis, and often teaching occur in one classroom where general education and special education teachers support the learning needs of all students. Inclusive education has proven to be a positive model for students and teachers alike.
The idea of the inclusive education model is to have the students in the classroom as much as possible to kind of do away with that whole thought process that they have to be pulled out and they have to see a separate curriculum.
Inclusive education is rooted in the opportunity for students with special education to have the same experience as their typically developing peers.
Inclusive education is allowing all students to learn.
In the past, we have lowered our expectations for students with special needs because we've been focusing in on their deficits, and I think that we need to move forward with focusing on their strengths.
If we're looking at transitioning kids out of special education, we need to give them access to the general education curriculum. So as we exit kids from special education, it gives them this opportunity to be exposed to the types of expectations they would be exposed to on a regular basis without being separate from their general education peers.
All students must be included as integral members of the school community. All are included with their general education peers to the greatest extent possible. While full inclusion may not meet all individual needs, educators work together to provide all inclusive services in general education when appropriate, determining what supports may be needed to accomplish this. For some students, learning needs are best met in smaller settings with more adult assistance. Teachers need to carefully plan and collaborate so that students do not miss key experiences in inclusive settings.
The academic performance of special education students in the general ed can be greatly enhanced.
Majority of my students have really benefited from being in their general education environment. They feel more included in their classroom, they feel more successful, and they get to spend time with their friends and their peers and the things that they enjoy doing.
I have students in there too that are actually pretty high in math, but struggle with like the social piece, and even to see their social skills that they've gained this year and the friendships they've built is gone a long way for these students.
There's lots of advocacy going on in general ed with their special education peers. I think people assume it's only one way, but we have a curriculum that we use to teach letter sounds. Kids in the general education often struggle with that concept and come to my room, and my students often take part in teaching them those concepts.
Teachers and staff collaborate together so that all students receive the appropriate attention to their particular learning needs. This ensures that all students achieve academic, behavioral, and social success at high levels.
All teachers in both settings, math and language arts, are supporting all kids in the classroom, not just special ed teacher working with special ed kids. There isn't really a differentiation for that. Teachers are just supporting kids.
Learning in a general education environment has been really beneficial for me as a special education teacher because now that my students are included more in that general education environment, I have to be knowledgeable about the core standards that students are expected to accomplish in their grade levels. And I'm really working to write standards-based IEP goals that students are working towards so that, I'm supporting what's going on in the general education curriculum.
I've learned a lot. I feel like I myself have slowed down a lot, as where I'm usually like, okay, let's go, let's get going, and I'm very fast-paced. I've learned to, slow down, break things into smaller chunks, and really dive into what kids are lacking, even the kids that are at grade level. I see some of the stuff that I've usually missed in the last 2 years by working with Mrs. Terrace in a special ed environment.
They are way more capable than you ever give them credit for. Give them a chance and let them see what they can do.
If we don't ever give them access to those things that they're supposed to be able to do in life to be successful, then they're never going to accomplish those things.
The inclusive education model helps to improve the educational, behavioral, and social outcomes of all students. It gives the general education students valuable experience working with others who may be different from them. It gives them the opportunity to act as supportive peer leaders. Inclusive practices give students receiving special education greater access to core content and more rigorous instruction. These practices give opportunities for attaining Common Core state learning standards, developing social skills, friendships with peers, and ultimately, greater gains overall. Inclusive education prepares all students for the real world. Teachers from both the special and general education departments learn from one another about high-yield instructional practices to improve student access to core content. They also teach standards to diverse learners. This professional collaboration helps teachers with the tools they need for successfully preparing all students for their futures.
Just a lot of growth and a lot of confidence has been built in our students.
I think it's the way that all special education should be headed.